Hey guys, it's Drew again. Well, it's time for the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame, and I wanted to put in my ballot for 10 channels that I feel are more than worthy to get the recognition that's deserved from all the work that they've done, putting out videos and making this community so much better. So let's check it out. This is my second year that I'm able to put a ballot in, and I'm really excited about this. And for those of you who have done one or are thinking about it, it's tough. It's tough coming up with 10 channels, not because I can't come up with 10, but more like because I can come up with 50 that I really feel that deserve some respect. But so what I had to do is I had to come up with a little bit of my own criteria, and part of me and who I am, if you watch my channel or know me, it's about community. And so a lot of these guys, they're just people that they really pour into this community one way or the other, whether it's the content that they make, the pickups that they share, the comments that they make to so many different people, live streams that they're in, background work that they do behind the scenes, or whatever it is. But I try to take all of this into consideration and come down to 10 channels that I kind of just really like to watch, and that's really what it's all about is connecting within the community. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and give you the list. This is in no particular order, but I just want to tell a little bit of an anecdote or story about why I'm picking each one of these guys. So here we go. Well, the first one is Orlando. I mean, a collector's dream. You can't go wrong with Orlando. What a great guy. What an ambassador to this community. I heard someone say, if Mangini is the hobby president, well, I feel Orlando is the ambassador. He's just a giving wealth of knowledge for his years in this community, way before there was YouTube, and it's just been an honor to get to know him through comments, through some live streams we've been on together. But last year at the National, there was a moment where I was walking around and I just didn't have anybody with me at that moment, and that happens. And I'm just walking an aisle, and all of a sudden we just kind of intersected, and there was Orlando, and he was talking to a guy, and he turns around and just, Drew, I'd never met him before. Big hug and a big smile on his face, like he came to Cleveland just to see me. That's the feeling I got. And it's like that moment where he introduced me to his friend and talked about his collection and introduced my collection to his friend. It was like we were at a family reunion and I had never met him. And there's just a great feeling when you're with Orlando. And he was so excited about what I picked up, and he showed me what he picked. It's fun, and that's what makes this community great. So Orlando, you get my vote. And then another great story, and most of these are going to be national stories because that's where I met so many of these people. But Jake and I were with Scott from Reindeer Studios at his house, and Scott went to the airport early in the morning to go pick up a couple of other guys. And one of the two guys that was there is on this list, and that's none other than the dynamo, the human firecracker of our community. It's Dylan from Double D. And I remember opening up the door. It's like 6 in the morning. They had like overnight flights coming in, dead tired, red-eyed, excited, and all that stuff. And Dylan's right there, and the first words out of his mouth was, "Who is that, Drew? No way!" And it was like, again, a family reunion. And I love that. I got to spend some good time with Dylan, both in the car and then Scott's house and at the show and at the house that they stayed at. And just got to get to know him as a person so much more than outside of what he collects or how he collects. And it was just a great time. When I picked up, my big card at the National, my Ted Williams that I've shown 1,000 times. Dylan he saw it like within minutes, and he was so excited for me. And you got to understand, Dylan is like, well, say not as tall as me. I mean, I'm a good, honestly, almost 1.5 feet taller than him. And he gave me a hug. It was like a kindergartner coming. Now, I'm just kidding, Dylan. But man, he's like, dude, that's so exciting, whatever, just in that way that Dylan has. And I just love that enthusiasm that he had for me. Of course, since then, weekly, he bugs me. He's like, man, when are you going to sell me that Ted Williams? But honestly, the fact that he has an eye for one of my cards just makes me special. So, Dylan, you absolutely deserve a vote from me in this. And then the next one is, it's my hobby hero, Sammy from Sammy Thunder. Sammy and Jake and myself and Dom from Staven Sports Cards, we kind of hung out the whole time. We were at the same hotel. We all carpooled back and forth and around. We got to share meals. I got to have some good conversations. Sammy was huge in just instrumental in helping me get a few cards, whether it was spotting ones he knew and being like, Drew, there's a card over here that you want, or actually helping me broker a deal. In fact, he knows that there's a card right now I'm looking for, and he's like, Drew, I'll keep my eye out for you. Sammy is just a great channel, a great asset, and I love getting to know him, and truly is our hobby hero. So Sammy, you get my vote as well. And then next is another guy I met at the National, and I remember I voted for him last year, and I said in my video, I can't wait to meet you and shake his hand. And sure enough, as soon as I got it, there was no handshake. It was a big hug. We geographically live almost opposite ends of the country, but Eddie from Eddie's Cardboard Chaos, he gets my vote too. Big smile, great guy, superb collection, but man, talk about heart, talk about passion. And his tagline is always, we don't collect subscribers, we collect friends. Absolutely. And when I got to see him and walk around, we got to talk a little bit at some of the events up in Cleveland. He is absolutely as genuine of a person as his channel and persona that he puts out. So Eddie, a great guy. I hope we get to bump into each other again in the future, but if not, you've got my number. And give me a text anytime. But Eddie's a super guy and totally deserving of the vote. Another guy that I had voted for last year and got to meet at the National is Mike from Canadian Cards. And same thing. He was one of those guys that as soon as he sees me, he's like, Drew, big hug. Man, great to meet you and all this other stuff. And it was just this homecoming feel. And, we got to sit and chat. In fact, we talked about dirt of all things because I had some dirt for another guy. And we just talked about stadium dirt and some of the stories I had of getting some of it. And it was just silly and stupid, and it was shared, and it was passionate. It was great. So Mike, absolutely great channel, great TTMer, great stuff. I learned a lot about sports that I have zero, honestly, interest in watching from watching these channels and the passion they have, like hockey. And I really, really enjoy Mike, who he is, and his channel and his content that he puts out. And then another guy that he doesn't put out tons and tons of video, but I've gotten the opportunity, the pleasure of talking to him through some live streams, a little bit of texting, but not too often. But talk about a behind the scenes kind of guy. First year on the ballot is Adam from Splendid Sports Cards, and he helped Jake make the website for this YouTube Hall of Fame thing. He's helped other people in the background. He's Dylan's partner on their podcast and video series, and just a really, really down to earth, genuine guy. One of the very few people that I have not had the opportunity to meet in person, but I'm hoping that someday I get to meet you, Adam, and really looking forward to that day. And then next, another guy that I met at the National, I don't know, when I first announced that I was going to make those little card stands, he was the first person to email me and say, Drew, I want a set, where do I send the money? First person, and I really appreciate not just the purchase, but when I met him, man, what a great guy. And that's Mike from Hitman 23. Just one of the most absolute genuine guys. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't realize up until the National I wasn't even subscribed to Mike, but when I met him in person, we ended up just standing in the aisle on the last day I was there and talking for, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours, just looking at cards and just talking about life and getting to know him. Mike's a great guy, He's sort of a backbone of the community. He's been around for a long time, absolutely deserves a vote. So Mike, you get my vote as well. And then also another guy that I haven't ever met, and I'm not sure how it would come to be, but absolutely love his stuff. I love his passion. I love his support within the community. I see them commenting constantly on a lot of videos, not just mine, but everybody's. And that's Tony from JP Wisco. And, Tony lives in Japan, and he's got this great insight to Japanese culture and cards and the history of cards collecting, history of Japanese baseball. I learned so much just by watching his channel and just listening to him talk about people like, we talk about Hank Aaron and Willie Mays like everybody knows. Well, he talks about guys, and I'm like, I have no idea who that is, but I got to know more. And I appreciate Tony putting that passion out for us to be able to watch. And then another guy is Al from Iconic Baseball. And what can you say about Al? He's like the king of lists. I mean, he had his, 2-year list of, top but his iconic list of greatest baseball of all time. It was can't miss. And I know he hasn't put as much content out, but he's explained that. He's done a move. He's got a lot of stuff. He says he's got some stuff in the pipeline. I can't wait to see what he's got. Met him in person. Again, absolutely genuine. Love Al. Super great guy, and just an insane collection, and so much of his collection he doesn't show a whole lot of, but you're like, man, what a curator of a beautiful collection. So Al, you get my vote as well. And then finally, as another guy I did meet at the National, and he actually inspired me, and that's Mike from Junk Wax Hero. And about not quite a year ago, he put out a video that he had his dream card where he picked up his Ted Williams Leaf card, and I started thinking like maybe it's possible. So that's what I set my eyes on and my goal. And for the next 6 months, I had to plan and I had to save and all this other stuff. And when I finally found my copy of it, I was so excited. Of course, I was showing everybody. Well, he didn't really know me or doesn't really know who I am. His channel's large and all that stuff, but that doesn't mean he's not genuine. And just because he has a lot of subscribers doesn't mean he doesn't care about the community. And he's been pouring more and more into the community. I see him commenting more and more on people's videos. I see him commenting on a few of mine. He always responds to people commenting in his, and it's not easy having a huge channel like that and being able to still stay connected, but I think he's doing a great job. He is a valuable asset to all of us, and I can't imagine anybody that's watching this video that doesn't really love Mike and what he brings in to this community. So we're brothers in the Leaf Ted Williams Club, and I look forward to maybe meeting him again someday and just talking and seeing how he continues to grow and develop. So anyway, that's my list. Again, I want to thank Jake. He puts a ton of work into this, and Jake and I are very close, and we've texted a little bit, and we'll get to hang out at a card show coming up soon, and we'll talk about the Hall of Fame process and stuff, and he is just as guarded and honestly stays just as neutral even in person. He knows that if he tells me anything, his opinions and stuff, that I'm not going anywhere with that, but he still is very he takes this as an opportunity and a very serious thing to be, again, like we curate cards for our collection, he's curating this Sports Card Hall of Fame, and I appreciate Jake and all the work that he puts into this stuff. A little bit too much with the spreadsheets, settle down a little bit, man, but other than that, he does a great job. So I just go check out these channels. I can't imagine anybody watching my channel doesn't know these channels, but there will be a link down below to any one of them. Go check them out, give them some love. If you haven't voted yet, get in there and vote. All you need is to have put channel for at least a year, putting content out, and there's so many people that choose not to vote. Just vote. It's not really about who wins and loses or my buddies getting in. It's much more about community and building up and learning new. I've learned about channels I've never heard of before, both in the vintage realm that I collect and non-vintage, and just guys with personalities and collections and their stories, and I want to hear them, and I think you should hear them too. So I appreciate the time you guys gave me, and until next time, you guys be good.